In the country far away, a wise king named Mythology was ruling. Enemies attacked his kingdom. In the war, the Maharaj was killed. In the grief of her husband's death, the queen also committed suttee with him. The king's only son, Chandrahas, was just 5 years old at the time. The royal nurse quietly smuggled him out of the city and took him to Kuntalu. This devoted nurse began raising the prince by doing hard labor and menial work. Chandrahas was extremely handsome, simple, and humble. All the men and women in the town loved this innocent and beautiful child. It is said that God himself becomes the protector of those who become orphans and have no one. By his grace, one day Narada Ji, while wandering, reached Kuntalu. He gave the child a shalagram shila, a sacred stone, and told him the Nam mantra. By the grace of the divine sage, the little boy became a devoted devotee of Lord Hari. Now, whenever he forgot himself and sang devotional songs in his sweet, tender voice while dancing, whoever saw him would become enchanted. The king of Kuntalpur was a great devotee of God and was completely detached from the pleasures of the world. He had no son, only one daughter named Champakmalini. Maharishi Galav was made the king's guru, and following his guru's teachings, the king remained absorbed in the worship of God. The entire administration of the kingdom was handled by the minister Drisht Buddhi. The minister had a huge property of his own. Since the king was absorbed in devotion, in a way, the real ruler of Kuntalu was Minister Drisht Buddhi. He had a capable son named Madan, who helped him in state affairs. The minister also had a very beautiful daughter. The minister's interest was only in governance and accumulating wealth. However, his son Madan was a devotee of God and served saints and ascetics. That is why, in the minister's palace, where luxury and merrymaking usually took place, saints would also gather from time to time. Sacred stories of God were also narrated there. Even though he had no interest in these activities, Minister Drisht Buddhi would remain silent because of his son. One day, sages were sitting in the minister's palace and the divine story was being narrated. At the same time, Chandrahas was passing in front of the mansion on the street along with a group of children, singing the glory of God. Hearing the extremely sweet sound of the children's curtain, Madan, on the advice of the sages, invited them all inside. Chandrahas and the other children started singing and dancing. Meanwhile, Minister Drisht Buddhi also arrived there. The sages saw the radiant boy Chandrahas singing with deep devotion and were completely captivated. After the curtain ended, the sages lovingly called Chandrahas closer, made him sit, and began examining the auspicious signs on his body. After observing the physical marks on Chandrahas, the sages said to Minister Drisht Buddhi, "O minister, raise this child with love. Keep him in your house. He will become the owner of all your wealth and the future king of this country." The statement that an unknown orphan boy, who looked like a beggar, would become the master of his entire property struck Minister Drisht Buddhi like an arrow. He had been dreaming of making his own son the king. He could not tolerate that a beggar-like boy would destroy all his ambitions. He did not say anything to anyone at that moment. He took all the boys inside on the pretext of giving them sweets. After distributing sweets, he sent the other boys away and kept only Chandrahas behind. He called a trusted assassin, quietly explained everything to him, and lured him with a large sum of money. He then sent Chandrahas with the assassin. When Chandrahas saw that he had been brought to a desolate forest at night, he understood the intention and said, "Brother, let me worship God first, then you may kill me." The assassin gave him permission. Chandrahas took out the shalagram shila and performed its worship. With a choked, emotional voice, he began singing praises of the Lord. Seeing the innocent boy's beautiful form, sweet voice, and deep devotion, tears came to the assassin's eyes. His heart ached at the thought of killing an innocent child. However, he was also afraid of the minister. He noticed that Chandrahas had 6 toes on one foot. The assassin cut off the extra toe with his sword, left the boy there, and returned. When the assassin showed the severed toe to Minister Drisht Buddhi in the palace, the minister became very pleased. He felt that through his cleverness, he had successfully nullified the sage's infallible prophecy. Under the rule of Kuntalu state, there was a small principality called Chandampur. Its king, Kulik, was riding his horse early one morning towards the forest for some work. Suddenly, his ears caught the extremely sweet sound of God's name being sung in kirtan. Lying on the ground in pain from his severed toe, Chandrahas was singing a sorrowful kirtan. From a distance, the king watched in great astonishment. A small boy, looking like a divine child, was lying on the ground, surrounded by an extraordinary divine light. The king had no children. He thought that God had sent this Vaishnava divine child for him. He got down from his horse, lovingly picked up Chandrahas in his arms, wiped the dust from his body, and took him to his royal palace. Chandrahas now became the Yuvraj of Chandrapur after his sacred thread ceremony. Staying there, he studied the Vedas, Vedangas, and other scriptures. The prince also learned to use the weapons and the science of ethics, Niti Shastra. With his excellent qualities, he became as dear to the royal family as their own life. With the passage of time, Prince Chandrahas grew into a strong, handsome, and capable young man. King Kulik handed over the entire responsibility of the kingdom to him. Under Prince Chandrahas's administration, the small principality of Chandrapur became filled with the singing of Lord Hari's glories. There was no sorrow left in the kingdom. Every year, Chandrapur principality used to send 10,000 gold coins as tax to Kuntalpur. This time, Chandrahas sent those coins along with many more valuable gifts, gems, and other offerings. When Minister Drisht Buddhi heard about the prosperity of Chandrapur state and the excellent reputation of its young prince, he himself went to Chandrapur to see the arrangements. King Kulik and the prince welcomed him with an open heart. When Drisht Buddhi saw Chandrahas there, he immediately recognized him by his radiance and thought, "This is the same boy. How did he survive?" His heart became greatly disturbed. Once again, Minister Drisht Buddhi hatched a conspiracy to kill the prince. He gave him a letter and said, "Yuvraj, this is a very important task, and I do not trust anyone else. You yourself take this letter to Kuntalpur. And remember, do not open the letter on the way. No one should know about it. Deliver it directly to my son Madan." Chandrahas mounted his horse and set off alone for Kuntalu with the letter. By the third quarter of the day, he reached the garden of the king of Kuntalu. He was very thirsty and tired. He made his horse drink water, tied it to a tree, drank water from the lake himself, and lay down in the cool shade of a tree. As soon as he lay down, he fell asleep. At the same time, Princess Champakmalini came to the garden with her friends and the minister's daughter Vishyat for a walk. By chance, Vishyat came alone to the place where Chandrahas was sleeping. Seeing this extremely handsome young man, she became enchanted and began to look at him carefully. She noticed a letter in the sleeping prince's hand. Out of curiosity, she gently pulled out the letter and started reading it. It was a letter from her father. In it, the minister had written to his son, "As soon as this prince arrives, give him some visham, meaning the poison. Do not think about his lineage, bravery, knowledge, or anything else. Obey my order immediately." After reading the letter once, the minister's daughter felt great sorrow. She could not understand why her father wanted to poison such a handsome, godlike young man. Suddenly, she thought that perhaps her father wanted her to marry him and had mistakenly left out her name while writing. She felt grateful to God. She thanked God that the letter had come into her hands. If it had fallen into someone else's hands, a great disaster would have occurred. Using the kajal from her eyes, she wrote the word Vishyat, her own name, right next to the word Visham, in such a way that it now read as "Give him Vishyat." She closed the letter, placed it back exactly as it was, and quickly left from there. When Chandrahas woke up, he immediately went to the minister's house. The minister's son Madan read the letter and, calling the Brahmins, got his sister married to Chandrahas on the same day during the auspicious time of Gadulai Muhurta. During the wedding, the king of Kuntalu himself was present. Upon seeing Chandrahas, he felt that this was the perfect groom for his daughter as well. He had already heard a lot of praise about the knowledge, wisdom, and bravery of the young prince of Chandrapur. He now decided to marry his daughter Champakmalini to Chandrahas. Minister Drisht Buddhi returned after 3 days. Seeing the situation there, he became mad with rage. He thought, even if my daughter becomes a widow, I will definitely get this enemy killed. Such is the state of a heart blinded by hatred. The minister did not share his inner thoughts with anyone. There was a temple of goddess Bhavani on a mountain outside the city. Drishti sent a cruel assassin there with instructions that whoever comes to worship the goddess should be killed. The minister told Chandrahas, "Now you have become my son-in-law. According to our family tradition, after marriage, one must worship goddess Bhavani." He ordered Chandrahas to go completely alone in the evening to worship the goddess. Meanwhile, a sense of detachment arose in the heart of the king of Kuntalu. He wanted to get his daughter married to Chandrahas as soon as possible. The king called minister's son Madan and said, "Son, your brother-in-law Chandrahas is very worthy. God himself has sent him here. I wish to marry Princess Champakmalini to him today itself. Tomorrow morning, after seating him on the throne, I will go to the forest for penance. Send him to me immediately." Meanwhile, Prince Chandrahas was going towards the temple with the worship materials. Just then, Madan, carrying the king's message, met him on the way with great enthusiasm. Madan took the worship tray from him, saying, "I will perform the worship of the goddess. The king has called you immediately." He then sent Chandrahas to the royal palace. At the exact moment when Drishti had arranged for Chandrahas's murder, Chandrahas's marriage with the princess was taking place in the royal palace. When minister's son Madan reached the goddess's temple with the worship tray, the assassin immediately cut off his head. Chandrahas got married to the princess and became the king. His coronation was performed. When minister Drishti came to know that his son Madan had been killed instead, he became extremely distraught and ran towards the goddess's temple. As soon as he saw his son's dead body, in deep grief, he pulled out his sword and cut off his own head. By chance, while running like a madman, Prince Chandrahas had seen Drishti. He immediately took his horse and followed in the same direction. He reached the temple shortly after. Seeing the entire scene and the death of two people for his sake, Chandrahas felt great pain. He resolved to sacrifice himself and drew his sword. At that very moment, goddess Bhavani appeared in person before him. She said, "Son, this Drishti was very wicked and always tried to kill you. His son Madan was a good and devoted soul. But at the time of your wedding with his sister, he had taken a vow to give his life for you. That is why he has attained this state. Now ask for a boon." Chandrahas folded his hands and said, "Mother, if you are pleased, then grant me such a boon that my unwavering devotion to Lord Hari remains firm for all births to come. And please forgive the sins of Drishti. Bring back to life these two who died for me." The goddess said, "So be it," and disappeared. Drishti and Madan immediately stood up alive. After learning the entire story, minister Drishti fell at Prince Chandrahas's feet and begged for forgiveness. Prince Chandrahas lifted him up and embraced him with love. The minister was now completely transformed and became a great devotee of God. Madan was already a devotee. He showed great respect to Chandrahas. Everyone returned home happily together. Conclusion: forgiveness, mercy, and devotion are the true values of life. They connect a person with his inner strength and lead him towards progress. If you liked the video, please do like it. If you also want to learn how to make videos like me, then join the True Words channel and become a part of the True Words family. Thank you.